is not going to solve the problems that we have. We are never going to get anywhere until you decide that you individually care enough about your community to do something about it.
910 AM Superstation. We're the hottest station in town. The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 910 AM Superstation or Adele Media.
Good morning, Metro Detroit. It's Gary Leon Jackson, your urban conservative. How are you this morning? Time now is just past 6 o'clock in the morning. If you've got to be there by 7 o'clock, you've got 57 minutes to get there. Listen to 910 AM Superstation, Metro Detroit's only urban talk radio station. The number here in the studio is 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600. Today, June 19th. That is the 19th, as you know, is now the federal government, thanks to Joe Biden as president, the federal government has now said officially that June 19th is Juneteenth. It's the day that will be set aside to celebrate what is being billed as we're celebrating the freedom of Blacks who had been held in slavery. That actually legally occurred 2 years before that, a little bit more than 2 years before that, when Abraham Lincoln, then the president of the United States, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. But there were folks, y'all remember, for those of you that actually attended school and you were forced to sit through learning a little bit about American history, yet long before these current people said, we don't want you to know anything about your history. You'll remember that we went to war. Our country went to war. A very young country went to war with itself, not with adversaries from over across the seas somewhere else, but that this was sometimes it was called the war between the states, was civil war. Our country went to war because there were people in states who said, we want our slaves and we're keeping our slaves. No matter what you do, we're keeping our slaves. And there are other states that says, listen, slavery is a divisive issue. We don't really need to do that. These people are actually human beings. We're going to learn to free them and then treat them as they are Americans. And even though there was a war and people died, and the president of the United States said in 1863, by signing the Emancipation Proclamation, you were going to free these people. There were folks who decided to lie and keep it hid. They knew that they were supposed to free their slaves, and they didn't free their slaves. So we're not celebrating the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation. That's what we should be celebrating, but it's not. We're celebrating the day that 2 years later, these folks who fought us tooth and nail and said, I don't really care what the president said. I don't care what the law is. I'm not freeing them. I'm going to keep these people oppressed as long as I quite possibly can, only because 2 years later, word reached those African Americans who were being held in slavery in Galveston, Texas. That's what happened. And they found out, you know what? Y'all have been free for a while. These folks that are holding you slaves have been lying to you. They should have been paying you or treating you as sharecroppers, as they wound up doing later on. But you've been free. You can move about the land. You no longer are to be held in bondage. Those folks have been lied to for an additional 2 years about their slavery. And that is what is supposed to be celebrated when you see people out when they're having these, all sorts of sales, and Juneteenth has become commercialized. We're celebrating the fact that somebody finally told these people that have been held in slavery, you've been lied to for the last 2 years. You've been held against your will unlawfully for the last 2 years. And nobody ever said, you know what, we're going to make reparations to you. Now, they held those people, they punished them, they didn't treat them as Americans, even though it was the law and they knew they were supposed to do it. Yeah, I know that sounds familiar. I know that there probably is still a lot of that going on today, which leads to I think that today would be the appropriate time to talk about equality and folks deciding what's equal and that, oh my God, they've got to pull their hair out when it comes to talking about funding a Black institution. Listen, those of you that live in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb, you know that yours, part of your taxpayer dollars, that part of your property tax dollars go towards funding a couple of institutions. These institutions are the Detroit Zoo and the DIA. And you'll remember that the reason this happened is because when the city filed bankruptcy, there were folks that got together and said, listen, a city without a cultural base, it's not a city at all. We've got to save these gems. We've got to put some money into that, no matter what else y'all are going to get rid of. Even the people that worked for the city for 20 and 30 and 40 years and they're retired and they have health pay, get rid of that. We don't care about those people. We care about these buildings. We care about our artwork. We care about culture because a city without a cultural base cannot survive. So they came up with this grand plan that said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to craft a way for the taxpayers in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb to use some of those taxpayer dollars, their property tax dollars, to fund these institutions. And in exchange, we'll tell those people that live within those areas, you can come on down and come see these institutions when you want to, because, by the way, y'all helping to pay for it. You're helping to keep these institutions afloat because museums are failing all over the country. Well, if culture is so important and you've got, and understand this, it's not been lost on anybody that you have a cultural campus where you've got a science museum, a museum of African American history, the DIA, the main library, and the Detroit Historical Museum. When you've got all of these cultural gems right there, you've got them there for a reason. They are there to attract people. And there's even a road that's in the front of all of them that leads straight out to the zoo. Y'all know how popular the zoo is. It's not just popular with Blacks, it's popular with everyone. It's actually more popular with folks whose skin color might not be Black because it actually lies out in the suburbs. And any day of the week, you can go out there and you'll see people lined up and taking their kids and enjoying it. And oh my God, this is a gem. We've got to hold on to it. We've got to make sure it survives. But there's been a proposal put forward. The proposal says, listen, glad y'all took care of those institutions. That was a good idea. And it's starting to help, when COVID hit, a lot of places lost money. They lost traffic. They were budgeting. This is what happens. People generally write a budget for next year and the year after that and the year after that. And they're trying to figure out, what? How are we going to wind up paying for these things? And they're expecting, the budget is, we're expecting people to walk through the door. We're expecting them to spend some of their hard-earned money. We're forecasting that those folks are going to show up and we'll be able to pay for all of this stuff. Well, y'all know what happened during COVID. We were locked in the house. We were locked in the house a lot longer than we were expecting to be locked in the house. And even after we weren't locked in the house anymore, a lot of people like, you know what? Yeah, y'all going back out there and hang out among them people who don't know how to wash their hands and things like that. I'm not going around those folks because they're carrying germs. And we lost a ridiculous number of African Americans when COVID first hit. We don't trust you people. We don't want to be around you. Y'all go. So a lot of institutions, restaurants, stores, retail stores and things like that, they failed. They went out of business because they lost traffic. People weren't going. They weren't spending money. Guess what? It didn't just happen to stores. It didn't just happen to your favorite bar and restaurant. It's happening to two museums. The Museum of the Charles Wright Museum of African American History and the Detroit Historical Museum. They have not been making as much money in the last several years as they projected. A lot of us have not been showing up when we should be showing up. I mean, the museum has a couple of real fundraisers a year to try and get your traditional folks to come give the money that they've been given. But that money alone is not enough. And so they've decided to ask those people, the powers that be, said, listen, wait a minute. This other museum down the street is getting taxpayer funding. We would like some taxpayer funding. Yeah, y'all understand what's happening here. The Black Museum and the Detroit Historical Museum have said, you know what? if the taxpayers are funding those places and culture is so important and people see that and they put forward their money and they're not complaining about it, we want to wind up seeing if we want to go to the taxpayers. We want to ask them, listen, if y'all like culture so much, we're sitting right here. We're right next door. We need a little bit of help too. We just want you to help keep us afloat. The total amount, it appears that you know how these things go when they propose them. They are projecting that the new increase would add $60 over a 12-month period. If you have a home worth $150,000, this adds 60, 58, 59, $60 to your tax bill per year. $60. Let me say it again, $60. Yeah, I know. Y'all are sitting there thinking, that's 6 trips to Starbucks. Yeah, tell me if it's important enough that we can spend money paying for this institution and that institution. Why on earth are we starting to meet with? Because if you haven't been reading a lot of I know y'all listen to our show, you listen to our station, but the folks on some of them other stations are losing their minds because their position is, we're not funding anything Black. Oh my God, no. How dare them come after us? No. We're not giving them any money. That makes no sense. They've got a whole long laundry list, but they don't want to come out and just say, listen, we'll pay for anything that's run by white folks and has white culture. We're not paying for anything that has Black culture. That's the problem. And if there's any better day to talk about it, hey, there's no better day to discuss it than on Juneteenth, the day that we're celebrating the fact that white folks lied to us for an additional 2 years and held our relatives hostage beyond the time that the president said you were supposed to let them go. 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. It's time to take the first break of the morning. When we come back on the other side of the break, we'll start to take some calls and we'll talk about what we're really celebrating in Juneteenth and whether or not money that's going to white institutions can also go to a Black institution. We'll be right back.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Total Support Plans are your tech plans for the unplanned. With 24/7 PC protection against bugs, cracks, and hacks. Plans start as low as $199.99. Plus now, get up to $250 off select computers. In-store only. Offer ends July 29th. See an associate for details. Protect your tech at Staples.
Do you have an idea for an invention or new product? Do you think
I'm going to take Jerome first when we come
your
back.
idea?
I want y'all to watch my face when he's talking.
Call InventHelp now. InventHelp keeps your idea confidential and explains every step of the invention process. We create professional materials representing your idea and submit it to companies who are looking for new ideas. We have more than 9,000 companies who have agreed to review ideas in confidence. If a company shows interest in manufacturing your invention, we can negotiate on your behalf. We have helped over 10,000 clients receive patents. We also offer services including 3D modeling and animation demonstrating your idea, prototyping services, and we use state-of-the-art technology to show InventHelp client ideas to additional companies. Join the thousands of people just like you who chose InventHelp to pursue their idea. We are experienced. We are working for you. We are InventHelp.
Call us for free information at 1-800-460-1663. That's 1-800-460-1663. Again, 1-800-460-1663.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I had no energy. For months and months and months, I had no energy, and I'm a very active person. And my husband was noticing that I was tired all the time, and I was slow at everything that I was doing. And I kept listening to the commercials, and you don't know if something's going to help you or not. But I decided this was something I was going to do. And lo and behold, in about 4 days after taking them, I was repotting plants. I was doing other things. My husband said to me, "You seem to have more energy." And I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm fine." And I'm telling you, nothing has ever made such a difference. So anyway, I'm very happy.
Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code RADIO5.
Have you thought about advertising your business on our 910 AM Superstation? Our audience is bigger than ever, and your investment will be lower than ever. Find out how you can grow your business. Give us a call during business hours and ask for Henry, 248-357-4566. We will tell your story, and more folks than ever before will come to your door. 248-357-4566. Ask for Henry. The super audience at our 910 Superstation wants to hear about you. Call now.
The 910 AM live stream can now be seen on Apple TV, Roku, Chromecast, YouTube Red, iPhone, iPad, Android phone, Android tablet, Amazon Kindle Fire, any Windows phone. Watch us live at 910amsuperstation.com.
Welcome back, Metro Detroit. This is Kerry Leon Jackson, your urban conservative. Listen to 910 AM Superstation, Metro Detroit's only urban talk radio station. The number here in the studio is 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. Let's go to the phones. If you just tuned in, if y'all somehow woke up late and you just tuned in, you know that today's Juneteenth. Don't go looking at the mailbox for any mail because today's a federal holiday. Today's a federal holiday. It's a City of Detroit holiday. There's a lot of people that you usually are used to seeing out there on their way to work. They're staying home today. Traffic outside this window is not as heavy as it usually is because today, thanks to Joe Biden, is a federal holiday. It's one of them days when you're supposed to, celebrate is what people do on federal holidays. But I'm asking you to ask yourself, wait a minute, are we celebrating the president signing that Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, actually freeing the slaves and ending the war as this great compromise? Or are we celebrating the fact that white folks didn't really care what the president said, decided to hold us bondage for years long because they thought we're second-class citizens? And have we changed any? Are we at a point where taxpayer dollars can come out of people's paychecks to go paying for other predominantly white institutions? But hey, when Black folks ask for a little bit of that taxpayer dollars to help out the Charles Wright Museum of African American History, folks are putting up all sorts of stop signs and saying, oh my God, no, $60 is too much. It's a bridge too far. We're not going to pay for that. You're not paying for it for what reason? Because if in fact culture really means something to you, then culture really should mean something to you. 313-778-7600. Let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Jerome. Good morning, Jerome. How are you?
Good morning, Kerry. And, I was born on June 19th. And
today's your birthday?
Today is my birthday.
Happy birthday, Jerome. All right.
And, every day of my life, I've been reminded of Juneteenth. And, for one time, what we need to do is we need to deal with the truth. Your promo says that our government's checkbook can't do anything for us, but that's not true. That's a subliminal effect. And you know it or not, even if you have good intentions, you're just creating a subliminal effect. I spent a lot of time with John Davis, who was the first independent bank.
He built First Independence Bank, right.
He also owned United Sound Studios, and he told me, he said, Jerome, and I still have a project in my pocket right now that I didn't get to him, to remind you of. Now, he told me that people in the news business and entertainment, people only remember sound bites. But that's what's most important is this. Right now on this day, we've abandoned equal rights and equal representation, and especially for
who is we?
This is why
who is we?
We as Americans, period. Black, white, every color. We've abandoned equal rights and equal representation for our children. And the reason we've done this is because of rich white men like Governor DeSantis, Donald Trump, and the governor of Florida, governor of Georgia, Mississippi, all of them don't want your history in the history book, and it's for a reason. They know that it will force certification. And here's the reason why. Legally today in Detroit, and most of your, even your Democratic Party, and I told you, I don't know if I remind you, I was in Lansing, and in Karen Winstock's office, and I was also on the House floor. I was in the gallery. I was everywhere. I talked to Republicans on the side and on the Democratic side. And this year, when I asked Karen Winstat's office, with most of the prominent ministers and most of the prominent organizations there, had they did any research on putting our history in the history books. And she said we tabled that last year. And so far this year, there has not been one black issue come out of land. And that is insane. Now,
And especially since the Democrats are in control of both houses and the governor's office. You're right. That would be insane.
Okay. But here's the key. Right now, in order for you to teach or represent a white child or a white person, and this is the law and policy that's been put in place by Governor John Engler on up today, and it hasn't been changed. And our government right now, and keep this in mind, our mayor is involved with this too, and they all know this. To date, in order for you to teach or represent a white child or a white person, you have to have the necessary hours accreditation.
You got to be certified, right?
You have to be certified with 3 credits.
Brother, there's a bunch of other people waiting to get on. Come on, make your point, please. I know where you're going, and I need you to say it.
It's important, but it's important for the day. In order for you to teach or represent a white child, you have to have the necessary hours accreditation of white history from kindergarten through college.
So what your point is, but you don't, that the governor's decided that they can put some unaccredited people in the black folks into the black schools.
Gary, let me make the point.
Hurry up. Come on now. I got people on the hold. Make the point.
Yeah. Well, let me do it.
All right, Carl, put them back on hold. I'm gonna let you make it, but let me knock out some of these other callers first. Let's go to Mary. Good morning, Mary. How are you?
Hi, good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
What's on your mind this morning, Mary?
I want to make a comment regarding the African American institution wanting to share the funding pot, in my words. So, in my opinion, when you allow people to fund you, you allow people also to have a say in how you operate.
Oh, you right about that. You're right.
Yeah, so if you want to be an independent institution, then you have to make that hard decision on whether or not you want people to have a say in how you operate. So I would be sort of against the funding of the institution. I would say.
What's the alternative? Tell me if you know what the alternative is. You're against public funding because you don't want white folks putting their nose in what exhibits are going to be there, what hours the museum is open, and things like that. I got you.
Right.
But you understand that the opposite, the other source of funding is those of us, if the people who can hear my voice this morning alone, when you get off the phone today, while you're out running around today, you don't even fit it. I mean, you can physically find your way over to the Charles Wright Museum and pay for a membership, or you can go online and purchase a membership. There can be a rush of enough money coming in saying, tell the white folks we don't need their money. We can do this without them. Charles Wright started that museum in one smaller little building, and we can do it without them funding it. There are other institutions in town, one of y'all know which one it is, and you wanted to point it out, that are funded by members of that community. And they actually go out of their way to set up life insurance, and they make that sure that when they die, the one institution that they really, really care about receives hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars. People in our community can do the exact same thing if we care to fund that place.
If we would stop funding beer, cigarettes, weed, marijuana,
those are all good ideas. But here's the thing: y'all can go ahead and have all of the beer, cigarettes. What'd you say? Marijuana. What was the other one?
Designer clothing.
Designer. I don't buy none of that crap. Y'all can keep buying that and still put your money into the Museum of African American History.
Let me do this. And also, I think they should do what I have to look up the name, whoever went against the school for prayer, when they were saying that the school was not allowed to have prayer in the schools because of the established clause of the First Amendment. But if I will be more so, I will fight against you funding everybody else. You know, like if they're saying, well, you funding all these white institutions, then do what the person did about the prayer. You know, go against them with a no. Let them fund themselves as well. So everyone who wants to run an institution do not get to get taxpayers' dollars. If you're going to say, well, we can't fund yours, then, well, no, you don't fund anyone. Everybody do their own fundraisers. Everybody is independent institution, fund yourself.
Yeah, perfect point. Thanks for making that point, Mary. Have a great morning. Listen, here's the thing. Either take care of everybody across the board, pay for all of those every building that's in the cultural center, or don't pay for any of them. Now, 313-778-7600. Let's talk to Carl. Good morning, Carl. How are you?
Yes, thanks for taking my call, Kerry. Yes, all the cultural area over there, yes, all of it should be paid for. I have no problem with the African Museum receiving funds. You know, Juneteenth is it's a good holiday because it reminds the country what has been done to our people, done to Black people, to the citizens. It reminds that. Now, a lot of states didn't want to accept that, like Martin Luther King holiday. They didn't want to accept that. You know, but they want to keep the Confederate statues.
There are a lot of doggone folks who would wind up going to work today, and they don't care to go to work other days. Those folks are going to put forth a heavy effort to still go and show their disgust for Black folks by going to work today. We can't stop them from going to work.
Yeah. Well, that is really but it kept in Texas because they would miss out on slavery. That's all that really is. All that hatred is about. They hate they missed out on slavery. But that's, you know, if you really understand what you can do to a person doing slavery. But the funding, I have no problem with that. It's our funding HBCUs. But when you got the money coming in to one institution, that's European, all of the DIA. It's got some other stuff up in there, Van Gogh paintings and all that stuff and everything. There's nothing wrong. The Detroit Science Center, all that. The Historical Museum. Why not? I don't have no problem. I know they might have some restrictions or whatever they say. So, no, the money should be across the board. When people visit this area and come and see the cultural center, just like the Motown Museum, Detroit has a lot of history. I have no problem with that.
There you go.
Yeah, bravo for the holiday.
Thank you, brother. I got to go to break. Thanks. 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. Ms. Leona, you first. As soon as we come back on the other side of the break. It's a very quick break. We'll be right back.
Attention! Do you owe back taxes, fines, and penalties to the IRS? The IRS now offers new relief options for taxpayers affected by COVID-19, but you can't go it alone. Call Tax Solutions now. Our team of former IRS agents and tax professionals can get you the best deal. We know the COVID-19 rules. Call us and never speak to the IRS again.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
The virus has caused the IRS to take extensive action to help taxpayers. So if you owe $10,000 or more, this is the best time in years to settle your tax debt.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
Remember, the IRS will not give up until you pay. Call 800-683-9499. 800-683-9499. 800-683-9499.
The all-new 910 Superstation is your #1 source for urban talk radio. If you're looking for the best in radio programming, look no further. You can now listen in on a multitude of audio platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Listen Notes, and coming soon to Amazon Music, Goodpods, and Overcast. 910 AM Superstation, the largest, strongest, 50,000-watt urban radio station in town. 910 AM
Judge McCree is up this early on a holiday. Good morning, Judge.
Spots for $600, but they must air within 30-day policy, and we will even produce the spots free. That's right, free. Call Devin C. now at 248-357-4566. That's 248-357-4566. Or email at d.calhoun@thewordnetwork.org. This excludes political ads.
WADL gets a facelift and is now My 38 Detroit. Along with a facelift comes new programming on Mondays at 8 p.m. Catch a 2-hour block of Law and Order SVU. Tuesdays, Chicago Fire. Wednesdays, Dateline. More Dateline and Chicago PD on Thursdays and on Fridays. You will get more Chicago PD to start your weekend. We'll still have some of your favorite shows like Mom, Blackish, and Friends. Just adding more for you to enjoy on My 38. The Word Network has been broadcasting inspirational messages around the world since the year 2000, and we keep getting bigger and better and more innovative. Seen all around the world, we bring you the best teaching, impartation, singing, and inspiration. If you want original programming, we have that too. The Word Network is your exclusive source for all things inspiration, and we can be found on every device imaginable. If you want to be uplifted and inspired, you need the Word Network.
Welcome back, Metro Detroit. This is Kerry Leon Jackson, your urban conservative. Listen to 910 AM Superstation, Metro Detroit's only urban talk radio station. The number here in the studio is 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600. You just tuned in. Y'all know that today is Juneteenth. It's a federal holiday. It's a city holiday. There are some private institutions that are going to go out of their way for the folks to get up and go to work today. But the other ones, the government has said you can stay home. You can say, turn over, go back to sleep later for that job. 313-778-7600. And I thought that there was no better day than Juneteenth. And for us thinking about the injustice that went into, because again, remember this, Juneteenth is not celebrating the president signing the Emancipation Proclamation. Juneteenth is celebrating the fact that 2 years later, the word finally reached folks who had been held illegally in bondage and as slaves, not paid a dime for their wages. These folks had been free for 2 years. And there were certain white folks that said, yeah, I don't care what the president said. I know good and well we've lost the war. And we went to war so that we could keep our slaves, but I'm going to keep our slaves anyway. I'm going to treat them like second-class citizens anyway, even though it's against the law. When you celebrate Juneteenth, you are out having a party, doing all of that history to rap, all of the great things that happened over the weekend. I'm not disparaging any of them. I'm just saying I want y'all to think about what actually happened and what led up to it. And don't forget the fact that the reason it took that long is because white folks felt like you were not equal to them. You and your ancestors were not equal to them. And that I thought that there's no better day than Juneteenth to talk about the fact that there are people on talk radio, on other channels in this town, who are thinking feel the exact same way. They feel that it's perfectly fine for them to spend property taxpayer dollars to fund predominantly white institutions where they like to go take their kids and hang out, like the Detroit Zoo and the DIA, and that it's fine to fund them, but oh my God, the same cultural institutions that we need to have in the city include the Charles Wright Museum of African American History. Understand this, a lot of cities don't have their own Museum of African American History, even though, as one of the earlier callers said, Detroit has a lot of history. A lot of that stuff is not told in other cities. We have a gem. If you were ever around and you had the opportunity to meet the folks that started the museum or any of the people that serve on the board now, you would learn to have a newfound appreciation for that place and say, this is a gem. Many people don't have this. We should actually take care of it. You would actually go out and buy a membership and things like that. And I'm not saying fund other institutions or we're going to self-fund our own. I'm saying if, in fact, you're going to fund any of them, you need to include the Charles Wright Museum of African American History, and that those folks who are sitting around saying, oh no, it's a bridge too far, we're spending too much money, they're only doing it because they're racist. They feel like we can pay for white institutions, but they don't want to put any of their money into a black institution. Be careful when you hear people say something, because they'll tell you who they are. 313-778-7600. Let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Ms. Leona. Good morning, Ms. Leona. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you and 19 listeners? I kind of woke up late and looked at my clock. I said, oh, let's see if I can get on. So I want to know exactly what the topic is. I don't want to make a comment about the wrong thing.
There's been a proposal put forward because the Museum of African American History and the Detroit Historical Museum, they've lost a lot of money in the last several years. They did not have as many people come through the door as they had projected. And so there is a source of funding. We as taxpayers in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb, part of our taxpayer dollars are going to pay for to help operating costs at some of the other institutions in town, like the Detroit Zoo and the DIA. And this proposal would put $60 on your tax bill per year for a house up to, if your house valued at $150,000, you would wind up spending about $60 more per year. That's 6 trips to Starbucks, an additional $60 on your tax bill to help pay for, to help fund the Museum of African American History and the Detroit Historical Museum. And there are folks, people who don't listen to this station, folks who listen to the other station, people that feel that, you know what, they don't mind paying for other institutions, but they don't want to fund a Black institution. Their position is, we're not putting any money to it. We're going to oppose that proposal because that extra $60 is asking for too much money. How do you feel? Do you believe that if we're going to fund cultural institutions, we should include the African American Museum as well?
By all means, I agree that the Black Museum should be included. I see nothing wrong with that. And the Black people in the city of Detroit, like you said, we had a membership, including myself. We wouldn't have to go begging for the things that's due to us. So if you don't have a home that's valued enough to take that money, we can still get it free. I see nothing wrong with it.
Thank you.
They always want to give stipulation when it comes to Black people getting something, but we can do a lot of things ourselves, even at the income we're in. You can make a sacrifice, people sacrifice for what they want to do. So I'm all for it. I know my house is probably not valued enough, but I would be willing every year to pay that taxes. But our people, sometimes you can't get them to understand the basic things that they need. So there's nothing wrong with it. We're not going to get everybody on board, but we can get enough on them and make them understand that it's important. Detroit has always been ahead of other Black communities with the George Wright Museum is one. I remember when it was established on Warren and West Grand Boulevard. That is a little house on that corner. So nothing wrong with it. Come together, unify, and always don't stand around and say what the white man should do. That's what some of our young people do. So, and then a lot of them say, I don't vote. And that just breaks my heart to think about what our ancestors went through to get us to where we are. It seems like we're just going backwards. And our young people, they weren't taught, and that our ancestors taught us. So I don't blame the young people. Some of the old people don't know, but I think as Black people, all we need to do is come together, love each other. You're not going to get everybody on board, but you'll get enough on to do what we need to be done.
Well, I appreciate you for getting up and for sharing. Listen, there's a lot of folks that listen that they don't remember where the museum started. They don't remember how it started. They don't even know who Dr. Charles Wright was. And so I need folks who have been around a while to refresh the memories of those folks, and so that you'll know we haven't had it a long time. It has not always been there. It was started as a wonderful idea, and look at what it has grown into. and it's a jewel. They
Yeah.
don't have this in many other cities, and we need to make sure that we take care of it, especially since our taxpayer dollars are going into the pockets of some of those other institutions in town. They can include the Charles Wright Museum with that when they're paying it off. Okay.
Yes, we can.
Thank you for getting up and for sharing with us this morning, Ms. Leota. You have a wonderful holiday. Let's go to Sylvia. Good morning, Sylvia. How are you?
Good morning. I'm in agreement. I think it's on us to support and also fund us. If we want to be saved, we got to be our saviors. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a quick point. 313-778-7600. Is Fidel on the line? Let's go to Fidel and see if we can actually get him or if he's just, on hold listening to the show. Good morning. There we go. Good morning, Fidel. How are you?
I'm all right. It's all propaganda, man. Your listening audience, they don't understand that, man. They lying and perfect to you. I've been saying that for so long. You gotta remember on prior shows, your listening audience said I'm crazy. I don't know what I'm.
Why do you say that every single day, Fidel? Why do you keep saying that? You say it every time I call or every time I go to you. The first thing Fidel says is, y'all said I was crazy.
This is what your tax dollars go to. You gotta keep voting in people that goes against. This goes on your city council. This goes on your Wayne County executive, and this goes on your governor. Your governor knew that Flint was still in trouble. Majority black city. Your governor know that Highland Park don't have a high school. Majority black city. When you say these other people, who are these other people? Because when I talk about white people, the first thing the black host say, not all white people. So to me, this is good white people. The only people are stupid here is the black people. The Irish and the Mexicans not coming out for June 19th. They not that stupid. Black people will go support them. Your own black city council. This is what your tax dollars is for. It's not just for that institution. Why do they give so many permits and grant so many grocery stores to other ethnic groups and not their own people? Ask yourself that.
Have you wanted to open a grocery store and somebody denied you a permit?
Your taxes up.
Y'all listen to this. This is what gets me. We got to go to break, but understand this, y'all. Fidel called at 6 o'clock this morning and held on for 45 minutes so that he could say all of this stuff that it's y'all fault and that y'all think he's crazy. He held on, sat there and waited for his chance fresh out the gate to say that. 313-778-7600. You got to take the last break of the morning. It's a very quick break. We'll be right back.
The Superstation, Detroit's only African-American talk radio.
Did you know most vitamin supplements don't even come from food? Even the products with colorful fruits and vegetables adorning the labels are seldom derived from produce. Typically, supplements are synthetic, made in a laboratory. Modern science may synthetically imitate these chemicals, but your body isn't fooled. It knows the difference, and it craves quality materials to build, repair, and fight illness. You need to consume fruits and vegetables daily in a variety of colors, as well as whole grains and other fresh food. That's why I formulated Balance of Nature. I wanted to be able to give my patients a natural alternative to the cheap, unnatural chemistry by giving them real fruits and vegetables. In fact, the only ingredients inside of Balance of Nature are whole fruits and vegetables. Don't settle for imitation nutrition. Reach for the good stuff, the real stuff.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order by using discount code RADIO5.
My38 is offering a great special that cannot be refused. Are you looking for a great deal on TV advertising? Are you searching for an avenue to get your business name out to the public? With My38, we are offering a great special with 100 commercial ads for a great price. This offer is for a 30-day ad placement. Please contact Devin C. for more information at 248-357-4566 or email at d.calhoun@thewordnetwork.org. This excludes political ads.
Do you have an idea for an invention or new product? Do you think companies would be interested in your idea? Do you want to try to get a patent? Then call InventHelp now. InventHelp keeps your idea confidential and explains every step of the invention process. We create professional materials representing your idea and submit it to companies who are looking for new ideas. We have more than 9,000 companies who have agreed to review ideas in confidence. If a company shows interest in manufacturing your invention, we can negotiate on your behalf. We have helped over 10,000 clients receive patents. We also offer services including 3D modeling and animation demonstrating your idea, prototyping services, and we use state-of-the-art technology to show InventHelp client ideas to additional companies. Join the thousands of people just like you who chose InventHelp to pursue their idea. We are experienced. We are working for you. We are InventHelp.
Call us for free information at 1-800-460-1663. That's 1-800-460-1663. Again, 1-800-460-1663.
Have you thought about advertising your business on our 910 a.m. Superstation? Our audience is bigger than ever, and your investment will be lower than ever. Find out how you can grow your business. Give us a call during business hours and ask for Henry, 248-357-4566. We will tell your story, and more folks than ever before will come to your door. 248-357-4566. Ask for Henry. The super audience at our 910 Superstation wants to hear about you. Call now.
Welcome back, Metro Detroit. It's Kerry Leon Jackson, the Urban Conservative. Let's get back to these callers. Let's go to Joanne. Good morning, Joanne.
Hi, good morning. Because again, I tuned in late, but this is the Black radio station, and I'm so glad you're on, and I'm so glad you're talking about this very subject. I saw this on TV the other night, and because of Black history, and I'm Black, and Black history touches my heart. I didn't have it in school, but but it came afterwards. Black history is amazing. It's proud people. It's fighting people. It's everything. And because you're talking about the Charles Wright Museum, I'm going to make a large donation for the simple reason I heard you talking today, and I'm so glad you're talking about that subject. Anything Black, I love. So thank you so much, okay?
Thank you for calling. We appreciate it. And I'm sure that the museum will definitely appreciate your money coming in. Thanks, Joanne. Have a great day. Let's go to Joe. Good morning, Joe. Did we lose Joe? Hey, there you go, Joe. Good morning.
Yeah, I got a ride on Fidel's coattail. These people been kicking our butts with our ancestors' money for centuries. What it is, we have too many house N-words in America. Seem like all educated Black folks think about it as white people property. And as far as getting together, we're gonna be in this for the longest until we found another Winnie Mandela to put that necklace on some of these house N-words. We ain't gonna get nowhere. They destroyed us as a people, and we know that. Some Black folks know that, but these house N-words, they giving that man 250 ton glasses on the nut.
All right. Thanks for calling and for holding on to make that point, Joe. We appreciate it. Have a great morning. 313-778-7600. Let's talk to Walter. Good morning, Walter.
Good morning, man. Thank God for white people, man. It was those white soldiers that came from the north to help to make sure that when the slaves were set free and liberated, to make sure that they enforced it. You know, a lot of people leaving that out of history. It wasn't no Democrats; it was Republicans. And if you're a Democrat, please do not celebrate Juneteenth because you're not set free. Joe Biden and Barack Obama, the two worst presidents ever in the United States of America. As a result of voting for each one, you got more food stamps, you got more high prices at the pump, in the stores, everything you buy, and you out here.
More food stamps. So the white folks that live in Appalachia are the ones that are using the food stamps. You're saying that Joe Biden and Barack Obama sent them white folks more money than they had before, So they increased them from $400 a month to $420 a month. That what we complaining about this morning?
You know, it's a bunch of dumb white people that voted for Barack Obama twice. So that proves that America is not racist, as a lot of your callers think it is. So, like I say, one more statement.
Who said this morning about that? Who said this morning that America wasn't racist? Wait. That we talked about that 2 weeks ago. You've been holding that in for 2 weeks, Walter. You sat around 2 weeks like, I gotta call Kerry. I'm gonna wait on hold. I'm gonna call him. I didn't get it in today. I'm gonna call Kerry tomorrow. I didn't get it in today. It's a Tuesday. We gotta listen to the recording. It's the weekend. Kerry ain't there. You held this in for 2 weeks so that you could call in to complain about and say America is not racist. Walter, for real. Brother, get out there. Do you have a woman? Is she pretty? How much time did you buy her something? Did she buy you something this weekend? Brother, tell me something that helped you relax other than you sat around waiting for 2 weeks to call in to talk about America is not racist. Come on, please tell me you got a life and that you get out the house and you do stuff and you've enjoyed yourself. Are you a father? Did you enjoy Father's Day? Tell me anything other than I had to call and get this in to say America is not racist.
I got some good news for you.
Let's go with it.
You're supposed to reinforce. You're a Republican. You're supposed to reinforce everything I said.
Who said I was a Republican? Where have you been? Where have you been? I left the Republican Party 2 years ago, Walter. Where have you? 3 years ago, 2019. Where have you been? You haven't been listening. You haven't been paying attention. You was listening 2 weeks ago when we talked about Tim Scott said whether or not he's running for president and whether or not America is racist. That was 2 weeks ago. You heard that, but you have never bothered paying attention to the fact that I'm not Republican. I can't sit next to racists. I definitely would never have voted for Donald Trump. And I think that he should have been sent to prison a long time ago. And that this is all just, the stupidest stuff that I've ever seen in life, with folks going around saying we should not prosecute him because that's going to be divisive on America. We should just let him get away with whatever he wants to get away with. Walter, for real? Brother, have a great day. 313-778-7600. Y'all, I'm almost out of time. Let's get to Robin real quick. And this is going to be our last call in the morning. Good morning, Robin.
Good morning, big baby. Oh, I love you so much. And I just gotta say it. I love my black people. And yes, once I hold on to things because he got a big fat white lady sitting on the couch next to him. And that's the answer. Have a great day, black people.
So obviously that big fat woman must be making him happy. She doing something now.
She watches. She watches.
Have a good day, Robin. Y'all, I'm out of time. Get out, enjoy Juneteenth. Don't just sit around because it's a holiday, but I want y'all to remember it and always look out for the fact that there are a lot of folks out there, even though they wasn't alive back in 1865, they wish they were. And they want to do everything they can to oppress you. And it's up to you to decide to not let that happen. Y'all have a great day. Y'all know that tomorrow's Tuesday. You'll get a pre-recorded show. I will be back live in front of this microphone, 6 o'clock Wednesday morning. Y'all have a great day. I'll talk to you on Wednesday.